All right, this is my take three. So I am starting this over the third time because I have just messed up the entire thing. And sometimes I get tongue tied. Don't ask me why. But, I've been doing this long enough in terms of teaching or lecturing to know exactly what to say. But there are always going to be times when you just mess it all up. Okay, so I am coming to you from my bistro, and this is Linden, Guyana. It's rainy outside, so I've locked myself in. Well, not locked, oh my God. You know what? This brings me to this whole thing, and I don't mean to segue, but it's just terrifying to think about those 19 children that passed away so tragically. And my heart goes out to every parent, every friend, every cousin, every family member, auntie, grandparents that's involved in this. I mean, it's just really, really tragic. And then the story that you're hearing behind it, I don't know if it's true or not. I hope it's not true. Either way, it's just very, very tragic. And to hear something like that in a place like Guyana, it's just unheard of. Never happened before. I pray to God it never happens again. We know that these are families and they're hurting, and and all we can do is pray that this gets better and it gets easier. And with prayer, things heal. With time, things heal. However, at the moment when you're going through so much, I just can't imagine the enormity of the pain and the just the loss that this entire community is facing. And when I said lock myself in, it brings me back to that tragic story and my own thoughts and fears about being locked in. I don't like being locked in. Like, I really enjoy freedom. And I think if you want to see me suffer, lock me in some place, I will definitely suffer. But that's not something that I desire. I've gone as far as telling my husband, when that day comes when I say goodbye to this world, I know my spirit is no longer in my body, but put a glass over my face of the coffin, because I honestly don't like being shut in. And I think it's not going to be anything that can help anything at that point, but it's symbolic of my thoughts and it's symbolic of how I live. And I live freely. I don't like being locked in. So I have grills on my business, obviously, for a purpose, right? To protect me. My grill isn't to shut me in and to kill me. So my concept of these grills are to make sure that I have an escape at any time possible. So at no time at all am I locking myself in here. Whether I have keys or not, that's not enough for me. I spent some time in the city one time and stayed at some folks, and their entire place was shut with grill. I'm telling you, if a fire started at the kitchen, we were all dead. I honestly couldn't sleep proper for the 3 days or so. It was during the time that Linden had that riot, and we had to stay in the city. But I was so wanting to leave because I was mortified at the fact that the only escape was through one door, and that door, you had to go through the kitchen. Now, keep in mind that the kitchen is usually the place, well, I can't say it always is, but that's where fire starts, because you're cooking or doing something in there. Now, it starts in many other places, as we know. But either way, it doesn't matter where it starts. But especially if it started in that kitchen, none of us were escaping. I asked them, where is the keys to the side door? Nobody knew where the keys were. That's just like setting yourself up for eventual tragedy. I could not believe it. Coming from a first world country where, you just have plans in place. You have a fireproof plan. Where do we meet if there is a fire? Not to touch a doorknob. If there is a fire in a room, because you're gonna get burned. And or you know not to open the door, because then locking the door so that the fire wouldn't propel outside of it is the best thing to do. We know about fire alarms. I have, even for my home, I have a carbon monoxide detector because of an experience that I had before when my children were little. And I swear, if an angel had not woken me up, we would have all been gone, right? You may not believe in angels, but I do. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in angels. And I wasn't searching for an angel, but certainly they had an assignment that night. And I swear I always say I keep my angels working overtime, because I'm always doing something crazy. But that wasn't my fault. That was just one of the kids. Well, you're parents, so you can't blame the kid. But definitely somebody turned on every one of those kids, and I think it's the middle one, who turned on every single knob on the stove. And of course, carbon monoxide comes through because there's no fire. And don't ask me the science of it. All I knew, I was woken up at about 2 o'clock in the morning, and by a voice that called my name, and I just kind of went back to sleep. And this voice called my name again, this time with intention or intentionality, and I just jumped up, ran to the kitchen. I don't know, don't ask me. All I knew, it was the kitchen. This is when God is real, right? I jumped up, went directly to the kitchen, and every knob that you could that was on that stove were turned on. There were 4 knobs, of course. It wasn't a big stove. It wasn't a big apartment either. New York City, New York Avenue, as well. And it's a one-bedroom apartment that my husband and I had prior to us moving down to Florida. We had a couple of places in New York, at least 3 places, but that one was a smaller place. The other places were bigger because as the family grew, we had to, as they got older, we had to relocate to spaces that were bigger. But of course, New York City caused the harm in the leg. So that little apartment that we had, that was much cheaper than any place else, that's where me and the kids almost died. I swear, I went and I turned off the stove, all the knobs, came back to bed, laid back down with the same sleepiness in me. And all of a sudden it dawned on me, oh my God, carbon monoxide opened all the windows right now. At that time I was an NYU student. I was pretty smart, I wasn't in a place where I had no idea what carbon monoxide was, or what to do or whatever. So I kind of knew these stuff. And you don't have to be an NYU student to know that, but I'm just saying I was exposed more to a lot more in my life, and so I understood right away what to do. So I got up, opened up every single window. And it was a freezing cold in New York, so of course all the windows were shut tight, and the fumes from the heating system was of course in there, joined together with all that carbon monoxide. You were looking for a tragedy. Definitely a near call death experience, I would say, or near death experience. Sorry. For me, being locked in isn't something that I like. So after that event, I literally went to a place where I even took more precaution. Not only, like I said, a fire alarm, carbon monoxide detector, all that stuff. Even I have those things here in Guyana, in my place, because of the fact that I understand the risks that you take every day when you put stoves on and when you light candles and so on. So I don't take any risks. Not to say everything is going to be protected, but I want to know that I can escape if something happens. So yeah, I locked my door, my gate, which is the grill, but it's not locked. It's just, just the lock that's on it. So when I say I lock myself in, I'm not shutting myself in any place. The only thing that's going to be shut is that glass door that I can pull in, and I can clip it, and I can open up from the inside. All right, that's the only thing I would do. That's if I'm in here and I'm not paying attention to outside, and whatever. But even then, I can still put the grill on. Usually the grill is on. So if it's at night, though, at nights when I close off, I lock myself in with the glass door. I don't take any chances with locking that grill. I push it in and I put a lock on it, but I don't take any chances with locking it. You want to come break my door to get in, then hey, I guess that's a battle we're gonna have to face, right? But I don't think somebody is as stupid to come break an entire door just to get in. That means you must have some sort of enemy, that they want to come after you. But with that said, I am in here. So please, when you start thinking about your own space and how you put grills on, and I notice here in Guyana, everywhere we go, there's grills on people's doors, on their windows. And, I don't know if they have a plan. I don't know if they have a fire plan. I don't know if they have a meeting plan where they meet if something happens in the house. I don't know, if there is an escape plan. I don't know what it is that these people do, but they're well grilled up. And it's dangerous to be that grilled up. There's nothing fashionable about grills. Right? So I don't know if it's a fashion thing or if it's a protective thing, because for me, I see it kind of like almost like people just think it's a fashion, and they put these grills on. Right? Some people, I'm sure, do it out of pure security, but I wonder why put on so many grills on so many windows, on all the doors, everything. Right? If it's not a business, this is what I'm saying. If it's not a business, if this is your home, I'm talking about. Why are you so grilled in? You're looking for trouble eventually. Anyway, with that said, when I bill or when we bill, I'm not going that route. And listen, I'm going to bill up. I'm going to bill high up. You're going to have to get a ladder, and you're going to have to try to climb through. Now, don't get me wrong. I'll use all the first world countries equipment that I can use. I will have a gun. I'm a Floridian. I know all about guns. Even though I don't have a gun, I know guns is everywhere in Florida. So there's no way you don't, gun is not something that you should be afraid of, right? As a Floridian, as a Texan, these are just things that are normal, like literally guns, you have legal guns in Florida and Texas and all those southern states, like it's nothing, Georgia, everywhere. So these are all, two places that I've lived between Florida and Georgia. So I'll definitely have a gun. The other thing that I want to do is install an alarm system, a video surveillance system, whatever it takes to make sure that I stay safe. However, locking myself in from grill to grill all over the place, no way. There are going to be certain parts of the house that I will grill, parts that are far away. But no way, I'm not grilling up my bedroom. I'm not grilling up my living room all over the place. Listen, you're going to have to get a 25-foot ladder to climb up there and try to get in. So it's going to be, and then the number one thing that I'm going to have is God and prayer. All right, so that's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to go that route with all these damn, grills all over the place in my house. I should be able to live free. All right, so there are going to be certain parts that I'll put grill because it's probably going to be essential that, if you're in one part of the house and you can't hear, then it's going to be good. And then, of course, you can have dogs. And I'm not a dog person, but I will definitely get dogs. But then people can lure your dogs to eat poison and try to get in anyway. So, what are they coming in for? I don't know, because obviously these people are always trying to get something that they didn't, give you. But I'm not going to be living in that type of fear and anxiety and worry, because you can do that in the U.S. too. You can't go anywhere without worrying about somebody shooting up a place these days. So, and, that's another reason why I also left the U.S., because I can't bother with that kind of crazy. It's just nuts. You shouldn't go to church and have to worry. You shouldn't have to send your kids to school and worry. You shouldn't have to, do all this other stuff just to be normal. You can't go to a concert in the park and just relax. You got to be on edge. You can't go to the movie theater. It's just all these psychos running around, right? It's just crazy. Mind you, You come to a place like Guyana and you don't have all that stuff, of course, but then you face another problem. No matter where you go, the other issue is that there are these little thugs who feel like as though they want to just bombard people's lives and make them uncomfortable. I don't live in uncomfortability. I live peacefully. I walk wherever I want to walk. I do whatever I want to do. We're still with caution, but not in fear, not in anxiety, not in worry. And God didn't give us a spirit of fear, and of worry, right? He gives us a sound mind, and if we are children of God, that's the way we're gonna live. So I am a strong believer, and so I have no reason to worry about all this other stuff. So I don't know how I got off on this tandem of complaint for today, but just talking about being shut in, and just remembering this story. This tragedy. Sorry, this tragedy on these young kids' lives that just been cut off. As young as 5 years old, and didn't seem like the teacher could find the keys. It didn't seem like the school had a fire plan. It didn't seem like all the adults and even the government who facilitate these programs and were supposed to be able to see the danger in locking kids up in a building. Listen, if they want to, they claim that these girls wanted to get away and do what they want to. You can't stop people from doing what they want to do. I don't care how much you lock them in. You can tell your kids all day long not to do something. They're going to find a way to do it. I did. You did. We all did. We always find a way to do it. We're going to do what we want to do. You just got to give us the knowledge. And you just got to give us common sense to work with. And give us education. Give us empowerment. And that's what works. And I hope and I pray that every single school that has those bars will pull them down. Because I know there are plenty of them out there. Pull them down. There's no reason you need to have them. Now, unless you have like computers in an area, and that I can understand. But if you have a dormitory and you have bodies in there, please let them have places to go in case something happens. This is a wake-up call to every school and every home. And just last year, about 2 years ago, I remember right before the pandemic, it could be 2.5 years ago. Anyway, same thing with the girl in Georgetown, 19 years old or something like that, burned to death. Because she couldn't come through, she was trapped in her room, and she didn't have an escape from her bedroom window because it was all grilled in. Now, if there was a fire detector, I'm sure she would have had enough time. Folks, this is 2023. Buy fire alarms. Fire detectors, they sell on Amazon. They should be right in your stores, your home goods stores here in Guyana. If your home goods store or your Walmart, whatever we call them over here, don't have them, ask the buyer or ask the manager to get them in. You need fire alarms. You need fire detectors. You need carbon monoxide detectors. You're going to spend $20-something US dollars on something that can save an entire family. Because if you have the fire detector, what that does is it alarms as soon as it picks up on smoke, and it alarms. That gives you enough time to just get out. And the key thing is don't go back in. We know these things from first world country. You don't go back in, no matter what it is. Don't go for your cat. Don't go for your dog. The only thing that you should be trying to get is a human being. And that's when people run back in and oftentimes get themselves into trouble. But what can we do? We can't literally, leave someone to burn to death. We're going to try to save them. Now that's different. Right? And so, anyway, that's just my spiel today, because I'm going to come back again with what I really wanted to say. But please, guys, just in honor of these these kids, just do what's right for your own family and keep their families in your prayers, okay? All right, so I'll be back in a little bit with my real message.